America turns into a fortress for Jungkook. Why is his security tighter than ever before? It wasn't a red carpet. It wasn't a presidential visit. But the scene that unfolded at LAX International Airport on the evening of June 12, 2025, looked nothing short of a head-of-state arrival. Jungkook of BTS had landed in America, and the world watched, stunned. Motorcade. Tactical escorts. Airport staff cleared from designated terminals. Multiple black SUVs with bulletproof tint. Local authorities visibly stationed in every direction. And most notably, the idol himself was surrounded by a wall of plainclothes and uniformed security, forming a human barricade so tight that not a single photo of his face could be taken from the front. Why? What changed? What was HYB, and possibly the US security infrastructure, preparing for? Is Jungkook no longer just a global superstar, but now a potential national security concern? Or worse, a marked target? This wasn't the Jungkook we saw in Seoul just days earlier, whose photos at Gimpo Airport were snapped by aggressive saesyangs without permission, igniting debates about the thin line between fandom and violation. Those raw, invasive images, which quickly made rounds on social media platforms like X, exposed not just Jungkook's privacy, but also the vulnerability of a broken system that failed to protect a world-renowned artist at home. Now, the situation had flipped. In America, his face was hidden, his movement obscured, his location classified. And ARMY couldn't help but notice. America had become Jungkook's fortress. For the first time in months, fans expressed a strange mix of relief and discomfort. Relief that he was finally protected. Discomfort that it took international soil for that to happen. Some likened the scene to that of a political refugee or a witness in a high-profile trial. Why does it look like he's under witness protection? One user wrote on Reddit. Is someone trying to hurt him? Another asked on TikTok. Others noted the absence of HYB staff in visible roles, suggesting that US-based private security had taken over all protective measures. Some even claimed that the team included ex-military contractors, a claim neither confirmed nor denied by any official source. But perhaps the most chilling theory came from security analysts who spoke to reporters under anonymity. According to one insider, this isn't just a PR protocol. There's reason to believe threats were made. Digital threats, possibly ones that escalated since the saesyang incident in Seoul. Is it possible that Jungkook is now the subject of international stalking networks, where saesyangs or malicious actors use AI tools, public databases, and hacked airline systems to track him in real time? If so, it means Jungkook isn't just escaping Korea's broken protections. He may be fleeing a global threat that's evolved far beyond obsessed fans. The stakes were already high after the saesyang managed to infiltrate the private floor of Jungkook's apartment complex in Seoul using falsified government documents. That incident, which is now the subject of a national legislative hearing in South Korea, has placed the idol in the eye of a legal, emotional, and social hurricane. But in the background, the trauma lingers. Jimin, who previously expressed intense anxiety about Jungkook being alone overseas, remains silent on social media. Fans recall his words in a recent live stream. "I'm not sleeping well. I worry what might happen when we're not around him." So why did HYB send Jungkook out alone? Why the urgency? And if America is safe, what was so unsafe about keeping him home? The optics don't lie. This is the first time since BTS's global debut that one of its members arrived at a foreign airport under such intense, silent, and coded protection. No fan greetings. No press. No smiles. Only a wall of fear and silence. And yet, despite the tight security, despite the secrecy, a single image surfaced. A blurry side profile of Jungkook through a tinted SUV window. His expression was unreadable. But eagle-eyed fans noticed something small, something heartbreaking. He was holding a photo, a Polaroid. Zooming in, fans believe the image shows him and Jimin backstage during their last pre-military concert together. A moment of joy frozen in time. A reminder that even under armor, Jungkook is still carrying something fragile. Perhaps that's the real reason behind the fortress. Because what he's protecting isn't just himself. It's the last piece of peace he still remembers, So now the question echoes. What danger follows Jungkook so closely that only a fortified nation can keep it away? And how long until even America can't shield him? As fans across continents hold their breath, one thing is clear. The world hasn't just failed Jungkook. It forced him to vanish into a world where the spotlight no longer shines but blinds. Jungkook's first public appearance in America. What his eyes said before his mouth could speak. They had waited. Outside the venue in downtown Los Angeles, beneath the beating California sun, thousands of fans stood in quiet formation. Not screaming, not singing, just waiting, phones gripped tightly, eyes flicking to every corner, hoping for a sign, a glimpse, a presence, something to confirm he was really there. But when the armored SUV finally pulled up, there was no red carpet, no blaring music, no official announcement. Just a single door opening, and Jungkook stepped out. The roar that followed wasn't one of joy. It wasn't hysteria or celebration. It was something else entirely, a shared exhale, a broken heartbeat, a collective gasp. Because this wasn't the golden magne they remembered. This wasn't the boy who danced with fire in his eyes, or who teased Jimin with a smirk and a laugh. This was a man who had walked through something and hadn't yet come out the other side. His head was down, his pace slow, his face partially shielded by dark sunglasses, but not enough to hide what millions would soon see in photos that flooded the internet within minutes. His eyes were red, his jaw clenched, his skin pale. Was it jet lag? Or something deeper, something still unraveling inside him? He didn't speak at first, just waved, a small, almost hesitant gesture. Cameras caught the tremble in his fingers. Fans later speculated he was crying. Others insisted he was simply overwhelmed. But everyone agreed, this wasn't just a promotional event. This was survival. The media had gathered in silence too, surprisingly respectful. No shouting questions. No flashes in his face. Perhaps they too understood that this moment was delicate, something wounded. On the edge of shattering, a staff member whispered something to him before he took the stage. The venue, though filled with thousands, was eerily quiet. The lights dimmed. A screen behind him flickered to life. No dramatic visuals, just a simple backdrop. Still with you. And he began to sing. There was no auto-tune, no heavy instrumental, just his voice. And for the first time since his departure from Seoul, the world heard Jungkook again. It wasn't perfect. His voice cracked on the second verse. He paused twice. And by the time he reached the bridge, he stopped entirely. He looked down, then up. And with a voice that sounded like it had fought too many silent battles, he whispered into the mic, "I'm still here, even when I'm not." The crowd, holding back tears, broke. Many wept openly, not because the performance was sad, but because they finally saw him. Not the idol, not the superstar, but the human, vulnerable, raw, still reeling from something that no camera could truly capture. It didn't matter that he didn't finish the song. It didn't matter that he exited the stage quietly after just 7 minutes, because in those 7 minutes, he said everything. After the performance, Jungkook was ushered out through a private route. No backstage interviews, no press conferences. Only one message was left behind, a handwritten note taped to the green room door. "Thank you for waiting, I'll come back stronger. Please give me time." JK, the photo of that note, crumpled slightly at the edges and written in uneven pen strokes, quickly became a viral image across every platform. Some fans framed it, others made it their lock screen, but all of them understood what it meant. This wasn't a comeback. This was a CRY.IN Korea. The government continued preparing for the open hearing that Jungkook would be summoned to. Legal teams debated the necessity of his testimony. Human rights advocates begged for reconsideration. Even some members of the National Assembly questioned whether dragging a traumatized artist into a public courtroom would do more harm than good. Yet the wheels of policy had already begun turning. Jungkook was no longer just an artist. He was a symbol, a cautionary tale, a name etched into legislation still being drafted under the title, the Artist Protection Act. Back in Los Angeles, Jimin reportedly made a private call to check on Jungkook that night. Though unconfirmed, Fans believe the conversation ended with both of them in tears.
Why?
Because one thing was becoming painfully clear. Jungkook may be safe for now, but he was not okay. And as ARMY around the world tried to piece together the scattered fragments of this unfolding story, one question rose above the noise. How much longer must he suffer for the world to finally protect him properly? He didn't ask to be the example. He didn't volunteer to be the case study. All he ever wanted to do was sing. But now, he stands in the center of a storm he didn't create, and one he can't control. The next time Jungkook appears will likely be in a courtroom, not on stage. And the world will be watching not to hear a song, but a testimony. Will he speak? Will he break? Or will the boy who once smiled under stage lights rise again, as something the world no longer deserves to call just an idol? One thing is certain, Jungkook's story isn't over. It's only just begun.